Today I'm here with Dr. Ken Ginsburg, a pediatrician specializing in adolescent medicine at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. He's the co-founding director and the director of programs at the Center for Parent and Teen Communication, and the author of the award-winning book, Building Resilience in Children and Teens. Our focus today is going to be on the moms who are tired, the moms who have middle school kids and teenagers, and the tired is emotional. So what do we do? What do moms do right now at this moment?
The first thing to do is to acknowledge that it's moms and dads, and that to acknowledge what we're actually going through. So let's bring ourselves to a state of awareness. We have always juggled so many things, right? Taking care of your kids' well-being, making sure that they were being entertained, that they were doing well in school, getting properly educated. We had to work, we had to stay at home. We had to do all of these things at the same time. Now you have to do that, and you have to worry about health and illness and community and society. And we're all juggling so many balls, and a lot of them are dropping. And if your eyes are open, you feel like you're failing a bit. And that means that this is an incredibly important time to not only practice, but model self-compassion and self-forgiveness. If we do that, it not only makes a really big difference to ourselves, clearly, to how we parent, but I would make a strong argument to building resilience in our children when they see us treating ourselves with compassion.
Okay, so we hear that word. We hear self-compassion and self-forgiveness, and I hear it and I think to myself, well, okay, so it's not just a dream. I don't like go to sleep and say, I'm going to do this. What does it actually look like?
It actually looks like taking care of yourself and not getting down on yourself and getting rid of the voice in your head that tells you you're not enough, right? When there are balls that you've dropped on the ground, get rid of the sense that perfection was ever really an option, and begin letting some of those balls lay on the ground and liking yourself anyway. Allow yourself to look at the balls that are still in the air and see what matters to you. This is a chance to really look at your core values, the things you care about: loving family, staying healthy, creating peace in your home. These are the things you really care about. And by doing so, you can forgive yourself for the dropped balls. You can forgive yourself for not being perfect. But even more than forgive yourself, like yourself. Give yourself that same level of empathy that you're so proud of that you give to everybody else. But what we do in America so easily, those parents who care so deeply about our kids, is we sacrifice for our kids. We are good to everybody, but we get mad at ourselves when we're not living up to our own expectations. And our kids are watching us, and it hurts them. It hurts them on multiple levels, because they don't see us happy, which they care about intensely, because they worry they might be responsible for our unhappiness, which makes them feel insecure. And it doesn't give them the opportunity to learn this vital lesson. Part of being resilient is positively having self-compassion yourself and self-forgiveness and liking yourself for all of your frailties, for all of your foibles. And we can really model it now because we're all experiencing it and making our kids stronger because of it.
So two things that you said. You said our kids will feel bad when they see us sad and they wonder if it's them causing it, and that they feel insecure. So can you talk about that? Because they're so armored with rightness and anger and all those things that adolescents can bring out. And yet you're saying that what we're not seeing is this other side of it.
So we actually know for a fact that young people, including, if not especially teenagers, care very deeply about what their parents think and about the health and emotional well-being of their parents. This goes back a couple of decades ago, even to Ellen Galinsky's primary research in this area. We know this. And can I get back to that, like, wearing armor thing? It's really, really important for parents to understand that young people act like they hate us because they love us so much that it hurts. Like, let that sink in. You know, this rage that sometimes adolescents have it's oriented towards us because their job as adolescents is to answer the question, who am I? And part of that question has to be, I'm not my parent. I can stand on my own. And you raise them in this warm and comfortable nest with like fluffy flowers, and then adolescence comes and they realize that they're going to have to fly one day, so they have to like look at that nest and begin to see that it's a little bit prickly. They have to, they used to appreciate every juicy worm you brought to them, and now they're like a little bit embarrassed by the way you breathe, right? That's what adolescence is. It's about separating, not because they really don't like us, but because they love us so much it hurts and they know they need to leave. That is an incredibly important thing to know. Otherwise, you fall into that myth, an absolute myth, that says the kids don't care what their parents think or about their parents' well-being. It's just not true. So when we practice self-compassion, self-forgiveness, when we are emotionally healthy, when we show that we love our partners, our kids gain comfort and stability because they know we're okay. But with your forgiveness, I'd like to even go one step deeper about something else they learned. The most important thing for a young person to be okay, like the core thing that really builds their resilience, is to know that they are loved just the way they are, right? Love is seeing someone as they deserve to be seen, as they really are, not based on a behavior they might be displaying or on a score they might receive or a trophy they might earn, but as they are. It's that sense of incredible security that launches people into adulthood safely. So now, how do kids know that they're really secure in your presence, that you're going to stand by them no matter what, that you're not going to judge them even when they express their human frailties, their rage, their discomfort? And the answer is twofold. First, you do it when they need you the most during difficult times. You're there for them. You've got their back. You're not going anywhere. And the second is they see that you forgive yourself. They see that you don't expect yourself to be some picture of perfection. You understand that you've got bumps and edges and good days and bad days, and yet you find the ability to still like yourself. When they see you living that life, it gives them the security. It's literally all they need, Susan. Honest, it's all they need.
There are moments where the tension can be so high for families. And this narration of what you've said can really bolster you until someone looks you in the face and swears at you, or, you know, storms out of the house, or all the other things that can really be so contentious. How do you get back to that? And you can be hurt as a person, right? You can also feel hurt. So how does that move into the space you're talking about?
Absolutely, you can be hurt as a person. I'm telling you that how you move past it and how intentional you are in showing them how you recover and how you get to self-compassion. I'm not a Hallmark card. I don't believe that like me, like having some little man say, like, be self-compassionate does it. This is hard work, but that's the point, right? When your kids are little, you want to look like that duck gliding on the water, right? They look for you with absolute security. When your kids are in middle school or when they're in adolescence, or I would argue, being the parent of two young adults, when they're in young adulthood, what you want to show for them is how intentional you are. You want to look like the duck gliding on the water, whose little feet are working so hard underneath to keep yourself going. And when you show what you're doing, and you express your frustration and then say, this is what I do to work through my frustration. This is the work I have to do to get back to being okay. That's how you build resilience. It's not by like a slogan on the wall. It's by the hard work and the intentionality. I'm gonna hit you with one more thing. Yeah, families are complicated places, right? They always are. Love is complicated. That's why you get hurt the most by the people you love. You wouldn't get nearly as mad at people if they weren't your own kids or your own spouse. You're always most vulnerable with the people you love. But when the world is most chaotic out there, it's when it's that much more important that we intentionally do the hard work to create peace in the home, like intentional. So when a kid is in your face, if that happens, and then you literally say, now's not the time for me to react. Too much stuff is going on. We got to give each other a break. I'm going to go take a break because you don't want to hear what I want to say right now. And then later, when you've done the deep breaths, when you've done the exercises, when you've done the prayers, when you've talked to a friend, whatever you do, I don't know you, but whatever you do, you then go back and say, you know what? I feel better. And darling, I love you so much. And families are complicated. It's hard to love this much, but we have to work harder to create calm in this house, even when sometimes it's a lot of work because the world right now is so chaotic. We got to return home and make this be our safe space. So I choose to forgive today. Like, do that kind of work and talk about building resilience. Don't you want your kids to have families where, as complicated as they are, like, give up on the ideal family. Accept the family that is going to work together despite its complexity and to become strong. That's all the work I do. I don't create slogans. I create books and websites that teach people how to do the hard work. And it's the how that makes your kids okay.
So behind all of this is a lot of self-awareness for the parent, like knowing when their blood pressure is rising from something's happening and being able to retreat without being too impulsive. So are there suggestions for someone who may say, like, afterwards, I know I'm an impulsive person or I have an anger problem, but I don't know it beforehand. I only know it after.
But they do know it when it's rising, right? They do know when it's rising. And whether it's their blood pressure or whether it's their heart rate or whether it's just that they're about to lose it, all you need to do is take what you learned from parenting when your kid was 2 and apply it to yourself. Take a time out. If you know you're going to blow, congratulations for your self-awareness, right? Now take the break because, once words come out of your mouth, they're really hard to stick back in. Although you can apologize, and apologizing really works well with kids, really, really works well. But if you're about to blow, like literally, if you want to shake and say, I need space, give yourself a timeout. What a great resilience lesson you're giving your kid. Then go run it off to get rid of that adrenaline. Take the deep breaths to change your nervous system into relaxation. Take a shower, scream in the wind, drop to your knees and pray. I don't care, but give yourself the break and then go back and show them what you did. Show them how you glided back to them, that it wasn't easy, but it was intentional and thoughtful and it took work. We don't do our kids any service by looking like the perfect parents during the difficult times, because that's not teaching them how to live life. Life is complicated. Building resilience is more complicated than that, and it's good for them to know about it.
Okay, so last question. We are 4 months plus into this situation of living on top of each other. And if I am looking at this video and thinking I'm at a point of no return, like it's just gone so poorly and I don't know how to do a reset, can you give us any uplifting words on how to reset?
So there's no such thing as a point of no return, not within families. Honest to God, I could cry when I say that, but I believe that to the core of my being, right? So if you're at that point where you really think you're at point of no return, then you are deserving of professional help and your children are deserving of professional help. But at its core, talk about it and seriously apologize. Take care of yourself on a deeper level than a little man talking to you for 15 minutes. Like, do what you really, really need to do. And if nothing else, apologize and say to your family, I've blown it. Not out of lack of love, but because of love, I didn't know how to contain. There was just too much of it and too many fears inside of me, and you didn't get the best of me in the last 2 months. And I am sorry. And I need you also to give me the break that I'm trying to give myself. Do that. Kids are amazing. Trust their ability to want to join with you and to repair your relationships. Trust in that. And I do have materials available to help you get there, right?
So give us your website and we'll put it in the comments also.
Yeah, so the website for the Center for Parent and Teen Communication is parentandteen.com. And there's a lot on there about building resilience, about coping and stress management, and about getting kids professional help without shame or stigma. Like the language of resilience that can make a person feel good for needing more than you can give at the moment.
Dr. Ken Ginsburg, thank you so much for being here with us.